So what is decaffeinated coffee? Well, to answer that question, we first have to understand what is caffeine. Caffeine is a crystalline compound that is found in tea and coffee plants and is a stimulant of the central nervous system. That is why when we drink beverages with caffeine in them, we feel a certain burst of energy and mental stimulation. Caffeine is the element that is responsible for this effect. Caffeine has no aroma or smell. It is slightly bitter in taste, and it is in fact a natural pesticide, meaning that it has a built-in compound that destroys insects that are harmful to these precious plants. What is important to understand is that caffeine is a natural thing. It's naturally evident in tea and coffee plants. However, some people prefer having the taste of delicious coffee but without the stimulant, and we call this decaffeinated coffee. Let's have a look at the process of how coffee can be decaffeinated. The process of removing the natural caffeine in a coffee bean is often asked about, and guests often want an explanation of how it is done, why it is done, and the effect that it has on the coffee. It can be quite a complicated explanation, so it is very important to understand the basics. There are 3 different processes which are used today to remove caffeine from the coffee bean. Firstly, the solvent or traditional process. Secondly, the Swiss water process. And thirdly, the carbon dioxide or CO2 process. All decaffeinating processes are done when the coffee beans are in their green state and never while they are cherries. It is also never done after roasting. So let's look at these 3 methods very quickly. The solvent or traditional process is the oldest and most common method of decaffeination. What happens is the green beans are steamed to open their pores. Then, the green beans are soaked in an organic solvent which bonds with the caffeine. Then, the green beans are steamed again to remove the solvent residues and hence the caffeine in the bean. The Swiss water process is used due to the fact that it is environmentally friendly. It's chemical free and referred to as the water-only process. This process uses the following steps. Firstly, the green beans are soaked in very hot water. The water is then filtered or percolated through activated or charged charcoal, which removes the caffeine. Then, the green beans are returned to the hot water and the beans reabsorb the flavor substances from the water, but this time without the caffeine. The final method is the carbon dioxide process. This method uses 2 natural elements, pure water and carbon dioxide. Together, this makes a sparkling water, which effectively extracts the caffeine from the coffee beans. This works due to the fact that when carbon dioxide is compressed, it can behave partly as a liquid and partly as a gas, and can also selectively bond with caffeine. Firstly, the green beans are steamed to open their pores. Then, the green beans are covered in compressed carbon dioxide. The compressed carbon dioxide and the green beans are then filtered or percolated through activated charcoal, which removes the carbon dioxide which is bonded with the caffeine. The flavor substances never leave the green bean. Only the caffeine leaves the bean. So no reabsorbing needs to take place. This is a very quick look at the 3 processes that are used to decaffeinate coffee. They are effective in removing caffeine from the coffee bean. The other question that you often may be asked is the amount of caffeine found in a cup of coffee. And a good rule of thumb to follow is that light roasted coffee has the maximum caffeine, while dark roasted coffee has less caffeine. Also, the longer the extraction time, the more caffeine will be found in the cup. So, the use of a plunger method, which has a long extraction time, has more caffeine, while the use of the espresso machine, which has a short extraction time, has less caffeine. This can seem like quite complicated stuff, but it's very important for you to know this so that when your guests ask you about caffeine and coffee, you can respond confidently. But remember that there are 3 different ways to remove caffeine from coffee, and also remember that the lighter the roast, the more caffeine, and the darker the roast, the less caffeine. Good luck at understanding caffeine